Timna, Chapter 6. As Timna hurried to the waist room midway down the walkway, the sound of something thumping against the ark made her stand still. Ahead of her, the great door of the ark was shut tight. The noise came from behind it. Mixed with the high wind and rain and the loud banging, she heard men's voices screaming and shouting, demanding the door be opened. They were pounding the door with something heavy. Timna felt her stomach sink. Her legs grew weak. She could not open the huge door to let anyone in. Father Noah said God had shut it. There were to be no more passengers. The roar of the wind rose higher, and the rains poured hard against the ark. Timna stood frozen, holding tight to the railing near her. A great crashing thunder muffled the sounds of men's cries and curses. The pounding stopped. Now all Timna could hear was the awful, roaring shriek of wind and thunderous rain. With a sob, she turned back away from the door. She would not walk past it. Instead, she went the other way, walking the full length of the ark until she reached the far side. It, too, had a waste room. Timna opened the heavy door of the waste room and secured it to the walkway until she could light the lamp. The lamp box swung from an iron arm attached to the inside of the door. Japheth had made all the lamp boxes on the ark. Each metal box had lattice sides to let the light through and snug metal bands inside it to hold the lamp securely. A latch front in the box opened to allow the lamps to be lit or removed for filling. With trembling hands, Timna took her tinderbox and lit the wick. Watching her every move, the dogs waited close to her feet. Tools and brushes hung on one wall and built-in bins on another. As Timna hurriedly dipped water from a great urn nestled in the straw of the wall bin, she tried not to think of the terrible things happening outside. Was this the flood? But the dogs soon took away any thought but how to keep them still and not soak her own robe as she brushed them. At last she swept the soiled, wet straw to the large hole in the corner of the room and let it fall into the darkness below. The dogs sniffed the edges of the black hole but ventured no further. Now, Timna said, standing with her hands on her hips, we must hurry back to others. Come, Silver, come, Silk. Turning to the door, she reached into the lamp box and snuffed out the wick. Instantly, the room became dark. Thief and Mangy, not yet used to being called Silver or Silk, moved quickly out of the darkness into the dim light of the walkway. Sounds of pounding rain and roaring wind seemed to surround the ark. Timna swallowed hard and forced her legs to move up the walkway to the top deck. Here the noise was even louder, but the light was not so dim. Lamps gleamed at both ends of the walkway, and midway between them more light spilled out from the open door of the living quarters. The windows that lined the ark high above were mostly closed on this side. Just as Timna reached the door, a thunderous crack split the air, and she screamed. Her mother-in-law hurried to fold Timna in her arms. She held her tightly. Don't be afraid. We are safe in the ark, she said calmly. All that is happening outside is part of the flood God has sent. We must trust him. Come now, child, and sit by the cooking fire. Behind Timna, the dogs whined, and second thunderous crack sent Mangy howling. Hush now, Abihail said. I have heard all about your dogs, Timna. Bring them along. They will be calmer with us. Let them dry off by the cooking fire. Your father-in-law has a soft heart and insists they not be separated from you. For a moment, Timna forgot her terror. Oh, Mother Abihail, already they have shown how good they are, and how they come when I call them. I promise I will not let them bother you, and I am sure Shem will not mind if I keep them in our room. At Timna's words, Abihail chuckled. I will hold you to your promise, she said. Now come, this is the time to be together. She drew Timna to sit on the cushions placed around the giant iron firebox that Japheth had skillfully made to hold the cooking fire. It was fastened to the floor and sat on a bed of sand and stones inside a large wooden box also secured to the floor. Near it, Mehetabel huddled with her hands against her ears. Next to her, Zeruiah raised her pale face as Timna sat down and put her feet near the warmth of the stove. Mehetabel lowered her hands cautiously. Oh, Timna is more terrible than anything I could have thought. It sounds like the sky is cracking in giant pieces. My child, Abihail said as she sat and took Mehetabel's chubby hand in her own, remember that for many years we have known this would come. It is what God told us would happen. But inside the ark, we are safe from all the things that are happening outside, no matter how awful. Nothing will harm us here in the ark. Abigail rose to her feet again. Soon the men will return, hungry and looking for a meal. Shall we make a lentil stew? All of you can help me sort through the lentils. It will keep our hands busy. She did not add that it might also help take her daughter-in-law's minds off the storm that raged outside. By the time the men returned, a thick lentil stew simmered in the black iron pot set over the cooking fire. Water ran from the men's head coverings down their faces. Their clothes looked wet through. Timna rose to help Shem with his wet things. His face was pale, and he did not look at her. Without a word, he let her take his dripping outer robe, but before she could speak, he disappeared into their sleeping quarters. Timna looked at the others. Ham and Japheth, too, were pale and silent. Noah wiped the streaming water from his face with the cloth Abigail handed him. We have seen nothing like this before, and we pray never again. The water streamed in even as we closed the windows. Japheth's ear vents are open, and thanks to the skill God has blessed him with, they are working. Please, husband, you must change to dry clothes, Abigail urged. He nodded, and together they went to their own sleeping rooms. Ham and Japheth left too, as Mehetabel and Zeruiah spread the wet clothing close to the warmth of the firebox. Timna slipped away to the room she and Shem shared. Shem sat leaning against the wall, his knees drawn up, his hands covering his face. His thick black hair was dripping wet. As Timna hurried to him, Shem looked up. His pale face worried her. She had seen him tired, but never like this. His deep black eyes were usually merry, but not now. You do not look well, she said gently. Some of Mother Abigail's herbal tea may help. I'll go fix it. No, wait, Shem said. Just sit here by me, Timna, for a little while. Obediently, Timna sat close, and he took her small hand in his own. For a few moments, they said nothing. The wild noises of the wind and rain surrounded them. At a sudden thundering boom, Timna jumped. Shem stiffened. The ark seemed to move under them unevenly in a rocking motion. We are moving, Shem whispered. The waters are rising. The rain pouring from the sky is like nothing we have known before. No man could stand up under it. We were drenched before we could close the windows, and with each crack of lightning, we saw things no man could have dreamed possible. Shem still held Timna's hand, but he did not look up at her. Timna, great fountains of water are gushing up from the very earth. The waters pile up like terrible giant walls whipped about by the winds. They rise up and crash down, destroying, breaking, sweeping away houses, trees, everything like broken toys. And the people, his voice broke as he turned to look at Timna. There are no people left. It is as if there was no sky, no earth. The waters have become a living thing, destroying all in its path. Shem became still. Timna could barely imagine the terrible things Shem had told her. It is the flood that God told your father would come. Yes, and nothing could be left alive in it, he said. Timna wiped wet strands of Shem's hair away from his face with the edge of her robe. Shem, we are alive, and your mother and father, Ham and Japheth, Zeruiah and Mehetabel, God will bring us safely through this, and all those animals too. A half smile passed across Shem's face. All those animals is right. We have our hands full. The noise of the storm outside was even fiercer now, and Timna and Shem felt themselves sliding as the ark veered left and then right. Then it seemed to settle back into a rocking motion again. Shem helped Timna stand and hold to the railings fastened to every wall in the ark. I need to change out of these wet things, he said. Can you manage to make your way back to the kitchen? Timna nodded. She clung to the railing as she left, glad that the ark had been well built for such times as this. Huddled near the large iron stove, Mangy gave a small whine as the wind and rain outside continued to rage. Thief lifted his head. No one else was in the room. What we hear is the flood. It has come. I am glad we are safe inside the ark, he said. Oh, Thief, whatever it is, I hope it will soon be over. I hate to think what would have happened if we were out in it. Thief licked his paw dry. You could call me Silver if you like. Our mistress does. Mangy looked at him. He was already calling the young girl their mistress. I could, but I'm sort of used to Thief. As for me, Silk is a good name, I suppose. It's just that Mangy still feels right. Her drying coat was not truly smooth and soft yet, but it did look better than before. With a sudden spinning of the ark, Mangy slid across the floor into the seating cushions. Fear gripped her. What was happening to the ark? Thief, too, had slid. He had barely time to sit up when the ark dipped another way, and again he slid, with Mangy right behind him. The man called Noah and one of his sons came into the room. They walked with one hand on the railing attached to the walls. "We'll need to pen up the dogs for their own safety," he said. As he spoke, Timna appeared at the doorway. "Father Noah, I can put them in our room," she offered. It was not a bad room. Both dogs lay on the floor next to a large sleeping pallet. "I'll be back. Stay put now." She bent and patted Thief's heads. "You don't know, boy. That flood has come. It's a terrible thing, but you will be safe in here." The pitching and tossing of the ark was now worse than before. Timna grasped the wooden railing along the wall to hold herself upright. Ham and Shem had placed them so that everyone could walk anywhere in the ark holding on to a railing. When the door closed behind Timna, Thief raised his head to listen. Outside the ark, howling winds raged and rain beat. "Whatever is out there is not like anything we have heard before," he said. "It is as the Creator warned, a thing no one can face and live." "Oh, Thief," Maggie said, "if Noah had not listened to the Creator and built the ark, we would not be here, but out in that." Thief did not answer. He did not need to.